precarious cervical lesions. I am pleased that we were able to treat some women with precarious cervical lesions. I hope that in the near future, routine screening can be provided to all women. We have been successful because of partners like media organizations, the private sector, international NGOs, and government agencies. I thank them all. I have also instituted an annual celebration of International Women's Day on March 8th. This is done in partnership with the private sector and state agencies. This platform gives especially young women the opportunity to highlight the challenges that women face, proffer solutions, and call to action everyone, especially decision makers and policy makers. Many women, with the support of men, have been at the forefront of working, agitating, and leading in their bid to close the gaps in gender equity. No doubt we have made some successes in some areas, but these freedoms were hard fought and hard won. But there is a lot more work to do. Let us make sure that when the time comes, the women who come after us would be a few steps closer to bringing the gender equity gap. As First Ladies, we have platforms of opportunities, and we should use them to advance the cause of gender equity. We should provide more opportunities for our girls and young women to exhibit their talents. We should all work to keep more girls in school, ensuring equity for girls and boys right from the start. We must make sure women and girls have access to quality health care. We need to actively work to ensure more women and girls take up leadership and decision-making roles. We can do this much easier with like-minded allies who are willing to collaborate, partner, and support us. We have to actively seek and work with them. I know we can rise up to the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nados, for those remarks, interventions from the First Lady of Ghana, who unfortunately had to leave us. And now I'd like us to, ladies and gentlemen, as we are coming to a close of this session, I'm delighted once again to reintroduce Madam Monica Gingos, the First Lady of Namibia, and the President of OAFLAD, to give her closing remarks.
Thank you. I'm incredibly proud of the First Ladies present here, because you've really shown our partners and our donors the incredible capacity of First Ladies. I was listening to what the First Lady of Angola said, and I saw the leaders of Africa Reach nodding their heads because they focus on pediatric HIV. And I noticed their eyes were wide when you mentioned your campaign in Angola that increased coverage for pregnant mothers from 50% to 70%. That's consequential. And pediatric HIV featured in the speeches of the First Lady of Ethiopia, of Botswana, of a number of the countries, because it's really at the core of what OAFLAD has been about. And it's a low-hanging fruit. The intervention tools to prevent the transmission of HIV from mother to child are there. It's really about making sure it doesn't happen through education, through advocacy, and that's what the OAFLAD does. That's what Africa Reach does. So please do, all of you, come and join the launch of Africa Reach at the lunch, because it really is an issue that is at the heart of what we do as OAFLAD. I listened and I watched the Kenyan First Lady, the incredible impact that was done, but I think it's the first time a First Lady has used audio-visual equipment in order to do her presentation. And it shows how OAFLAD is evolving, how First Ladies are evolving. I look at what the First Lady of Niger was doing in relation to reducing inequalities. And that's also very important from a gender equality perspective, because they are cross-cutting themes, as the First Lady of Burundi was talking about, that need to be addressed in relation to reducing inequalities. I look at the global impact that the First Lady of Sierra Leone has had, not only the incredible impact in Sierra Leone, but on the world. I mean, a UN-recognized day to recognize rape victims from a First Lady shows you the incredible impact first ladies can have and the type of leadership that we have from first ladies. So thank you from all of us. But it also talks to the power of narrative. There's statistics that fly around, but the way we do them, it's, let me for instance we like to say 1 in 3 women on the continent have suffered gender-based violence, or 1 in 4 women. But the reality is it's 1 in 4 men who are perpetrators of gender-based violence. Because often we make the woman the subject of gender-based violence, but really it's men, because we know it is male perpetrators for a number of reasons. And once you focus on the subject, you get to the problem. The First Lady of Botswana talked about utilizing inmates. And I commend you for that. We do something similar in Namibia. And I've noticed when we bring young inmates especially to speak about gender-based violence, you can hear a pin drop in the room. We often utilize them at our sessions. We did research in the prison facilities in Namibia to understand what are the drivers. Because it's important to give maximum support to survivors. But it's also important to understand from perpetrators what happened. What is it that drove this? And we were surprised by the similarities of life experience and lack of love, family dysfunction, witnessing abuse in their homes. So family was at the core of the dysfunction. And you heard what the First Lady of Kenya said about the protection of family. So I'd really like to thank the First Ladies, the First Lady from Comoros. Congratulations on your leadership of African Union. We were just talking about the power of First Ladies. And OAFLAD wants to get onto the agenda of African Union. And there we are. We have the First Lady present with your husband as chairperson. Fantastic. I'd really like to thank all of my dear sisters for your leadership, but also for the sisterhood. There are things we all go through as First Ladies that only another First Lady understands. So not only are you incredible leaders in the organization, you're incredible at helping us lead each other in facing the challenges and sharing the challenges we face individually in our countries. We also want to thank the representatives, and I'd like to apologize to the representatives of Rwanda, Nigeria, and Malawi, who had statements that they wanted to read from their First Ladies, but unfortunately time doesn't allow us to share those. So I do want to apologize for that. But thank you for being with us throughout, for the roles that all of you as advisors meeting the recommendations which have all been approved, for the representatives who represented their First Ladies, for your assistance as well. We also really